Visual art is one of the many forms of communication that artists have been using since time immemorial to send messages to society. However, the growth of visual arts in most parts of the world, Zambia especially, has not been good over the years. On this week's edition of Your Platform, a program that gives you an opportunity as members of the public to air views on various matters that are affecting you, we'll be discussing the growth of the visual arts industry in Zambia and measures that government is putting in place to promote the art. I am your host, Macpherson Mkuka. Stay tuned. I'm now joined by Yande Yombwe, a visual artist. Yande, welcome to your platform.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you so much. Just share with us, when did you start painting?
Well, what can I say? Like art has always been part of my life. I could say so because my parents are both artists. So I've seen them paint all the time, paintings around the house. And also in class, I was always that person who, when the teacher asked, who's good at drawing, I was always there. So I can say it has always been part of my life, though more professionally last year and this year. Yes, I participated in my second exhibition for women this year, earlier in March, and then this is my third one. So.
Well, a number of women would rather go for a job that is well paying, so to say. Not saying that art is not well paying, but a job like being in an office, sitting behind a table and do some office work. But you've decided to go for art. Why?
It's always been part of me, so it's something that I like to do. Yes, I believe people have got different callings, and some of us are called to be creative, like the visual arts. So for me, I paint because it's what I love to do. And I believe that reason comes along with the painting as we progress in our careers.
Have you done any trade away from art?
Have I done any?
Any trade away from art?
Well, slightly, but it's still in art. I'm an art teacher. I trained for 3 years at Evelyn Horn College. So I teach art part-time at a school called Tongabezi Trust School in Livingston. Yes, and then the other 3 days I work at YY Art Studio and Gallery, which is where I stay.
You're still watching Your Platform, and I'm joined by yet another visual artist, Noms D. Noms D, welcome to Your Platform.
Thank you.
So, share with us your experience in the art industry, visual art for that matter.
Well, I've been creating these digital portraits for about a year now. Before that, I was experimenting with painting and film, and this has kind of just become an obsessive thing that I've been doing, and I just create these works. They focus mainly on sensuality, on gender politics, and they focus on the internet.
Now, a number of your fellow women have focused much on visual art, not necessarily digital. How would you describe your shift in taking digital painting?
Well, personally, I don't see much of a difference between digital painting and an acrylic painting. In my mind, it's just like using a different medium. It's like saying, what's the difference between making a painting and doing a drawing? You know, like they're different mediums, but you use them to express ideas in the same manner. So, like for me, this is just the way I choose to express myself through digital mediums, because this is how I've grown up. It's like the environment that I was in. I grew up using computers and like smartphones and all of that stuff. So this is what I grapple with.
Is this the new route that most artists will be taking?
I mean, it's not really the new route that most artists will be taking. I think like it's it's a route for artists to be able to take. Like, I've noticed that there hasn't been a lot of digital art shown in galleries, while there are still quite a number of digital artists living in Zambia. So I personally feel like it's up to us to kind of put our work out there and show people that, like, this is also valid, this is also art.
You are still watching your platform. Now, a number of women have taken interest in visual arts across Africa. I'm now joined by Messi Moyo, a visual artist from Zimbabwe. Messi, welcome to your platform.
Thank you very much.
You have traveled all the way to come and be part of the art exhibition here, the visual art exhibition here in Zambia at the Lusaka Museum. How would you describe your journey in the art industry?
Well, as an artist, as I was growing up, I started working with basket with my grandmother. And after that, I started learning how to weave on my own. And then after school, I had finished school. Then I started working. I attended the National Art Gallery. They've got a visual art studios there. So I practiced there for like 3 years. Then the first time I was out of my country was in Greatmore Studios, which was South Africa. So I can say my journey with art was really a success to where I am right now, since I had an inspiration from my grandmother and my father as well, who's an artist. Yeah.
You have a number of pieces here on the walls for exhibition. Just explain to us one of them and what it means.
Okay, I have a piece that I like. This one just behind me. It's a beautiful piece. I'm sure you can see I worked with different materials such as charcoal and fabric, because I took my time just to mix all that to come up with a piece. But it's talking about a journey that people make in their day-to-day lives. We are all heading somewhere, but somehow we have certain tags that we take on ourselves. As you're walking, you can actually tell, oh, this one looks like a thief. Oh, this one looks like so and so. Or this one looks like Sangoma. Just by tagging them. So you tag people because of your mindset. So I'm looking at it in my art piece whereby people are tagged. If you look at their wristband, like for the example, there's a tag there, there's a tag of bags. So people can name others according to what they think in their mind. Are you a bag? Are you a handbag? To me, maybe somebody may say you look like a Gucci. You may look like a Versus. They can call you different when they tag you. So it's all about tagging other people when you look at them. Yeah.
If you were to compare and contrast the growth of the art industry in your country, Zimbabwe, and here in Zambia, where you are right now, what are some of the points would really come out?
Yeah, I think Zambia is really pulling up, especially when this program, Kuone Shango, is here, because it's encouraging women, which is a starting point or a moving point, whereby they are just encouraging women to be out there. Because in Zimbabwe, we are also having women, but I see the number is higher than Zambia. So I can say Zambia is really pushing, for our women to be out there and trying to make women come together and work together, which is a good platform for us international artists.
Zambia and Zimbabwe have been referred to on several platforms as the Siamese twins. What are some of things would you like to do together as Zambia, Zimbabwe in the art industry?
I think if we can have I think it's all about these kind of programs, whereby we are having exchange programs, whereby the Zambians, they come to Zimbabwe and the Zimbabweans come to Zambia. Those programs are good. I think those are the major things that we need for us to keep on uniting as two nations, So I think that's the only thing that I think is valid for now, which is important. Yeah.
This is to your platform, a program that gives you an opportunity as members of the public to have views on matters that are affecting you. On this week's edition, we are looking at the growth of the visual arts in Zambia. I am now joined by National Visual Arts Chairperson Mlenga Chafirwa. Mr. Chafirwa, welcome to your platform.
Thank you so much.
Share with us the growth of the visual arts in Zambia. Where are we?
Just a couple of months ago, we were actually observing our 28th year in existence as Zambia National Visual Arts Council, meaning we are 28 and where we've been around for the past 27, 28 years. Whereby if you look at where we are coming from and where we are, definitely we've made so many strides, but then again there have been pitfalls here and there where maybe we are not where we should be, but definitely we are there to try and make a difference and really move the arts forward.
You are still watching your platform, a program that gives you an opportunity as members of the public to have views on matters that are affecting you. On this week's edition, we are looking at the growth of the visual arts industry in Zambia. I am now joined by Felicitas Mombi, a visual artist. Felicitas, welcome to your platform.
Thank you.
You're one of the many artists, female artists for that matter, that have come here to exhibit their works.
Yes.
Share with us your journey through art.
Okay.
I'll hold the microphone.
Okay. My journey started when I was 12 years old. My first drawing was actually a Hello Kitty, one I did for my mother. And then since then I've been touching so many things, trying to explore so many things through art. I'm a self-taught artist. So my kind of work, I'm into crafts, painting, welding, metal, and I use platforms such as this to exhibit my work as well as to sell my work, because the market in Zambia is quite difficult as an artist to sell. But then when we are provided with more platforms like these ones, it's actually a good way of selling my work. So far, so good.
Apart from the challenges on the market, what other challenges do you face?
Okay, the challenges that I face is source of material. Material is very difficult to source in Zambia. Yes, so that's my biggest challenge, material.
So where do you get the materials from?
You see the painting, the metal work that I have behind, it's hard for me to weld metal because I don't own a welding machine. So I always have to source it from the next person. And sometimes collection of scrap metal is a challenge because it's not always that you find scrap metal has been displayed.
How different is your work from the others?
Okay, my work is different because I do metal art. Most of the female artists are not into metal art, which is also another challenge that I would face because when it comes to protective clothes, it's hard for me to source them.
You're still watching your platform and we continue talking to the visual artist. I'm now joined by Caroline Miyoba, a visual artist who is also a teacher of art. Ms. Miyoba, welcome to your platform.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We are here at this second art exhibition and with a focus on women. As a woman artist, a visual artist for that matter, share with us the challenges that you face in this field of work.
The biggest challenge is the roles that we play and the expectations from our communities. As women, we are expected to run our homes. So if you go full-time into art, it becomes a problem. So we just have to work around home. So we don't get to interact so much. And once you start having a family, it's a very big problem. Yeah.
What is your focus in the pieces that you work on?
I comment a lot about life around, and one of my pieces is called Media Blackout. It's a social commentary. I'm trying to talk about how people don't get to hear a lot about themselves. You know, we get to hear about other people, maybe somebody has been killed and things like that. And when we have information that needs to be disseminated to other people, I don't see it being translated from English to local languages. Hence my concentration on the work that I have being exhibited there. I'm talking about people hungry for information, but they can't understand. They misunderstand the news that they listen to because it's in English. So we need to get down to people and light up that blackout so that people are informed. You know, when we have in the village where I come from, there's so much translation of the main, even the constitution, sometimes they try to bring it down to the locals. And you find people are empowered. They are not easily abused, you know, or they don't abuse each other. But the moment you don't have any information or informed people, it's a very big problem.
You are an artist. It would be easy for you to tell the meaning behind a painting. But how easy is that going to be for an ordinary mind?
I think to be able to interpret the information in what you're trying to bring, I think the best really is to try by all means to relate with especially the culture of the people. If they identify themselves with something, I think it's something which is very exciting to them, and they'll find out exactly. And they'll even talk about it to say, you know, because it relates with them. If the moment I start talking about Manda Hill and things, the compound person is not going to relate with themselves, and it's just something in another world out there. Yeah.
You are still watching your platform, and we continue talking to more of the visual artists. I'm now joined by Mlenga, a visual artist. Mlenga, welcome to your platform.
Thank you very much.
We have seen a number of your work just right behind us, behind you here. Share with us, when did you start art?
On a professional level, I started in 2009. So before, of course, would say I used to paint, draw when I was a kid, but professionally I started in 2009. Yeah.
What is it that you look for in art? What sort of message do you want to send out there?
My work talks about mostly the woman, the black woman, the Zambian identity, and also children. I celebrate childhood and also try to talk about black hair and women, how they portray themselves, the black women, of course. Yeah.
Why the focus on the black women?
I think it's something which affects me as an individual, because I've seen that most of the times we as black women, we've been trying to get the Western standards of beauty in terms of hair. We get Brazilian hair, we put on our head, but you never see a white lady go and wear a black woman's hair. So for me, I feel if someone is talking about it, maybe we'll start thinking about it as women. Why are we doing what other people don't do outside our culture? Is it that we envy that culture? But again, it comes to how do you decolonize the mind? Because all this started from the colonialism where you were told, oh, black is not beautiful. So how do you start appreciating yourself? So my work actually is trying to address those issues.
How do you look at the growth of the art industry, visual art to be specific, in Zambia?
Well, let me say, if I compare it with a long time ago, I think there were few women artists. But as the years have been progressing, I think people have learned to come out and be able to do what they love to do. Like you can see, there are so many women artists who are participating in this exhibition. So generally, I can say that it's growing. We're getting there. Yes.
And in terms of women involvement in this kind of business, how do you look at it? You're one of the women that has been painting. You have indicated that you've been painting since the time probably you were in a school, and now you're doing it professionally.
Well, okay, for us, for women, a lot of women, it's difficult to kind of juggle this kind of career where you have to paint and then you have a family. They face different challenges. But I think it depends on the person and how you take your career. So a long time ago, a lot of women were in the shadows, but then now they seem to be coming out more. There is more involvement now of the women than a long time ago.
If you are to do any other thing apart from painting, what would that be?
Well, my second option for a career was journalism. Yeah, I feel I've got a personality that can do well in the journalism industry. And then my other option was to be a chef, so I would be a chef. Yeah, as you can see, all create on the creative side. I think I would find it boring to sit in an office. Yeah, so that's what I would do, a journalist.
We see a number of artists displaying their work on the streets of Lusaka, many of them. And sometimes you find this person is there from morning to evening, and you can't see a change in terms of which one has been bought. Do you think we as Zambians are appreciating visual art?
The appreciation is one thing that Visual Arts Council needs to work on, in the sense that we need policies, even through government, to excite the situation, because really, between you and me, if you look at this art that comes from Zambia as compared to even the sub-region, Zambian artwork is good, Zambian work is good. Maybe we've learned the hard way, but we are getting there, and the work is good, and we have so many people who come from out there who appreciate the work done by Zambian artists. But at the end of the day, it's the policies that we've lacked, policies that would support the artist so that he doesn't go on the street, because the idea of, again, producing an artwork and standing on the street corner to sell, that is not professional. And that's why we have Visual Arts Council. Artists should not do it the old-fashioned way of producing an artwork and standing by the street corner hoping someone would come and buy. That's why we need establishments like the one we have, where we have the Henry Tayali Gallery, where we operate from, which is our secretariat, which also is a meeting point for all the Zambian visual artists, whereby that is a place where artists can bring their work and it will be shown professionally. If we can't do it from there, we will at least point the artists in the right direction in terms of how to expose their work and their talent. The idea of producing artwork and standing by the street corner, that was the very essence that led the founding fathers to come together, mobilize the rest of the artists and come up with this Visual Arts Council, because we are not supposed to be doing it that way. If you are looking at contemporary art and how art is being sold the world over, you don't do it that way.
We have the Ministry of Tourism and Art specifically put in place to address issues of art, especially on the Department of Art itself. What sort of support do you need? You have talked about policy formulation. What other support do you think you would scout for from this ministry?
You see, I think for me, I don't even need to hesitate to answer that, because at the end of the day you realize, as much as we are part of that setup, I think we are not receiving that adequate support. And I don't mean to offend anyone, but at the end of the day, really, what I personally want to see is the artist on the ground really uplifting his standards, because there are so many who are good, who are talented, in the sense that when we have a ministry representing us, now we are finally under this ministry. Let us see the fruits. And let us also see, as people in the forefront in terms of administering the visual arts, let us see how we can point the artists in the right direction. Let us see how government will support the Zambian, the local artists through the same policies we are talking about, like a government collection policy, whereby I think every other country should be proud of its so-called national treasures or national collections and so on. But we don't have what we might call a Zambian national art collection. And between you and me, most of the best artworks produced by Zambians are being produced and purchased by people who are taking them abroad. Meaning, what are we remaining with? And you find most of these established artists are passing on with most of their works out there. What are we going to look up to and say, these are the people that led the fight in the arts, so to say? Because the policies are not there to get their works and preserve them in a public space that the ordinary public can view them and learn from that. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Mr. Chafirwa.
You're welcome.
You're still watching our platform. I'm just from talking to National Visual Arts Council Chairperson Mlenga Chafirwa. Shortly we'll be talking to more of the visual artists who have come here to exhibit their work. Stay tuned.
Yes.
I understand that visual art is something that is just growing in Zambia. But let us now look at the challenges that you face as an artist in your quest to deliver and spend days generating an idea and painting something to come out like that.
I think the first challenge is the market. The market is very small and limited. And apart from that, the people who buy most of our works are foreigners. So most of the work is going out there. There's very little appreciation of art by our local people. Even those with the money, they don't know the value the visual arts has. So when you look at the market and also the space to show work, it's rare that you find the National Arts Council giving us these kind of platforms. It's once or twice a year, and we need to live every day because art is a profession and we're surviving by it. So the opportunities, the space to show work, and also material. It's very hard to buy material in Zambia. And when you look at the duty-free things which the government always lists on things which people can bring in the country, they never look at art material. So for us, we pay more tax, and it's very expensive to produce. Yeah.
You talked about the aspect of a customer not appreciating your work. Where do you think the gap? Yes, where do you think the gap is for a Zambian not to look at an artwork and appreciate it, or go to an extent of buying it?
It's an education system, because if someone is going to come to me and tell me that a Zambian, a black Zambian, doesn't understand art because it's for white people, I'll disagree with them. But because before the white men came, we still created. We were creative. We made our own things. And artists were very close to the royal family because they're the ones who used to make the beauty of royalty. So when it comes back to here now, it's more of going back to our roots, educating our children, the importance of art, not it only being a source of income, but also a hope for keeping our heritage. Because through our art, we talk about our heritage, we talk about politics, we talk about social life. So it's not only about the beauty, it's also about the message that the art carries. So it has to do with introducing art at a primary level, and also education. When you come to the university, at the senior level of education, we still don't have an art faculty at the University of Zambia. So like that, I don't see ourselves as Zambians that we're going to appreciate art from that level. If you go to Zimbabwe, the art scene is very big, and I'm sure it has to do with it being in schools. So people learn at a tender age. So as they grow with it. But for us here, it's kind of very, very low and poor.
Let us look at the business aspect of the visual art industry itself. Are you satisfied? Do you get enough funds in terms of profit from these products?
Yes, you get profits, as you are saying it. But the thing is, it's about making a name at the end of the day. Because sometimes because art takes long to sell, and the name matures with time. If you are famous, just like all the musicians, when they start singing, nobody recognizes them. But when they are up there, just like we have Oliver Mtukudzi, when somebody hear Oliver Mtukudzi's album, even if it's selling for $10,000, people would love it because they know him. But because somebody else, even though they sing like Oliver Mtukudzi, they're not going to sell their album for $10,000 because nobody knows them. So the same with art. If people know you, your value of your artwork prices are higher than if they don't know you. So you have to work and make a name of your artwork. And that's it.
And what does this art exhibition mean to you as an artist?
I think it's really, really awesome. I think it's really progressive, especially for the women in Zambia. It's a great platform for us to showcase our talents and also our ideas. Mostly I find that arts in Zambia is a male-dominated field, and it's just nice to be able to see and share the work that other women do.
And how does your future look like in terms of visual art?
I obviously hope to be creating until the day I die. I don't think I'll be doing portraiture for the rest of my life. I'll definitely explore other ways of making art, but yeah, definitely I won't stop creating.
Going forward, how do you look at the growth of the visual arts industry in Zambia?
I'll talk about the growth of the visual arts in Zambia in terms of female participation. I've been on the scene for some time, but I must confess, the young ladies that are coming on board, they are actually setting a certain pace where we actually feel we should follow their pace. You know, I think it's grown. Zambia has a lot of talented artists.
What is it that you'd like to see in Zambia with regards to the growth of visual artists and the participation of women in this industry?
Okay, we'd like to see so many women participate because we have so many female artists, but they're still hiding in their shells. They're afraid to come out because of society challenges. So they would really want the government to come in and really fund different types of women, from small scale women to on a larger scale, using different platforms, as well as help sell our art out there.
Would you urge a woman who is doing something different and away from art to join the art industry, the visual art for that matter?
Yes, I would, because Walt Disney had no formal education, but then he did rather well because he was designed to do what he was designed to do. So besides art, besides getting a monthly salary every day, a woman can actually engage into creativity through making of jewelry. Like I'm making jewelry, handcrafted jewelry. You sell it, you get a profit out of it, invest it into something else. So a woman would actually ride on that one.
This is Still Your Platform, a program that gives an opportunity as members of the public to have views on various matters that are affecting you. On this week's edition, we are looking at the growth of the visual arts industry in Zambia. I am now joined by Julia Kaseka, Arts Director at Moze Arts. Welcome to your platform.
Thank you so much.
Being an artist is one thing, but organizing an art exhibition event is another. Yeah. You are the organizer of this Kubone Shango art exhibition for women. What does it take to organize such an event?
First of all, it needs a good team. You need to find a group of people that you're able to work with on a good level and who understand what you're trying to portray. I think we had a good team here. I would like to, just to have a concept, you need to know exactly what you want to do and put it into practice. So draw it, research about it, know about the artist's background, see the artworks. So there was quite a lot of selections. There's over 50 artists who are here today, so it was quite a lot of work. But yeah.
What is Kubone Shango?
Kubone Shango is to see, to show. Yes.
So it's the same as the exhibition. Yes. Okay. Now, why did you decide to focus on the women artists?
Well, because the women artists are quite undermined and they don't really have much of a platform. So to have the women have their own exhibition is to show the women that they can do it, and also to bring them all together and have a stronger say, because one person cannot do it alone, but when you do it in a group it has a much stronger effect, as does the tapestry.
From the pieces that have been exhibited here, how would you describe the growth of the art industry in Zambia vis-a-vis the participation of women in visual arts?
I think it's growing very steadily and at a good pace. Definitely it would need more women coming on board, of course, but so far women are really working hard, and from last year's exhibition it definitely has grown. The women have grown in depth. In last year there was two paintings. This year there's 5, so there's quite a big amount that artists are giving forth.
Yeah, I have noticed that you also have some international artists that have exhibited here. What is it that you're trying to put across in terms of relationships between Zambia and the other countries?
Yes, we're trying to put that it's important for us as Africans to talk a certain language, the African context. There's a lot of, if you say outside of Africa, West, Europe or America, they talk their own language. How, as Africans, can we start to talk our own language? We come from different parts of Africa, but we sort of have this sort of similar cultures. And how can we tell our story together and understand each other? So that exchange, it helps us.
Going forward, what sort of support would you like to get from government with regards to organization of such exhibitions in future?
We would like to get support that the government can help more of these events happen, because they're important, not just for us here, but also for us to get our art outside of Zambia, so people get to know what Zambian art is, who we are as artists, who we are as a culture.
This is to your platform, a program that gives you an opportunity as members of the public to hear views on various matters that are affecting you. On today's edition of your platform, we are looking at the growth of the visual arts industry in Zambia. I am now joined by Minister of Tourism and Arts Permanent Secretary, Dr. Liam Tale. PS, welcome to your platform.
Thank you very much.
We are standing in front of an art exhibition titled Boma Yanganepo. It's something I believe the artist here is trying to send out information regards to the concerns that they have in the visual arts. As PS in the Minister of Tourism and Arts, what do you have to say about a number of concerns that the artists have?
Well, I think what I would like to say now is that I think the arts are beginning to receive some recognition. I think before, I think if you went back 10 years or 15 years, I don't think you'd see this number of people coming to admire art. I think for us, art growing up, it was you can draw, and even if you could do it well, no one really thought very much about it. But now we are beginning to understand that out of that, you can actually earn an income, you can create jobs, we can alleviate poverty. So I'm greatly pleased at what's happening. I mean, looking at this piece itself, for somebody who's not as artistic, you wouldn't even understand what she's trying to say in this piece. But she's showing that, for many times we stand out there and all of us keep saying Boma Yanganireko. You don't want to do anything, you want the Boma to come, but then there is so much we can do. Look at what she did. She went and picked a piece of wood, put these little calabashes in there, and it's saying something, and it's going for a good price. So I think we are beginning to do well.
Now, as a ministry and strictly formulated to look into the welfare of tourism and art, and just on the aspect of art itself, what are some of interventions are you putting in place to ensure that we see the visual arts in the country grow?
Well, these are some of the things. What we're trying to do is we're trying to work on our galleries in terms of signage, in terms of just going out there to market them and to show people, to tell people where they are. We're also wanting to do more of these kinds of exhibitions so that we create a platform for the artists to be able to sell. So those are some of the deliberate efforts that we're going to do. Another thing we're going to look at is also capacity building. There are some who are still immature in the art, so we invite the older ones, the mature ones, to help the ones that are still learning how to get to a place where you can even exhibit your product. So those are some of the things that we're looking at, and I think just a wake-up call to the Zambians generally to say that art is important. We shouldn't downplay it. Our children come to us with all these gifts. They can draw, they can do this, and because we don't put value to it, we make the children feel like it's not important. So I think as a ministry, working together with the Ministry of Education, we're going to see how we can bring this out and also educate the parents that if your child has this gift, there is a way in which you can empower this child. And you don't know, tomorrow, that's the child that will look after you.
This is the second visual arts exhibition that we are having as a country. Where do you think the gap has been?
I can't really say the gap. I think, like I said, it's really a matter of now beginning to realize that there is more we can do. So I think we will see more of this, not only in Lusaka. We'll see some of it in Livingstone. That's why I'm saying Livingstone too has done, if they have a beautiful art gallery in Livingstone that I think people should visit. And then most of the art there is from Zambians. Very beautiful art.
In closing, PS, as a woman leader and also bearing in mind that we are here with a focus on women artists, what could be your call to the many women out there who might be thinking taking up art is a waste of time?
Well, I would encourage them. Being Christian, the Bible tells me that God will bless the works of my hands. And really, it is from the gift that God gave you that your income will come and your survival will come. So let them not ignore the fact that they're artists. And art is different. There's the visual arts, there's creative arts. There are different ways of expressing oneself. So I think the women shouldn't think that it's belittling to do that. No, it is not. I think they should come out and look at the beautiful pictures that we have seen here, the beautiful art that is here. And women are I might be biased because I'm a woman, but then I think they're more creative than men are. So if you look around already, I'm sure you'll agree with me that women can compete favorably in this environment.
Others did complain of lack of provision of incentives. Looking at the budget itself, the minister just talked about other things in terms of VAT and other incentives. But with regards to art, nothing was talked about. Any future plans for the artist?
Yeah, I mean, I think the artist must appreciate now that there's quite a lot of attention that we have drawn to the artist. If anything, I think this is the season for them to arise because the government is paying attention. Remember, we are in the top 3 priority sectors. So tourism doesn't come on its own. It comes together with arts and culture. Yeah. So I think this is a time for people to come with ideas to help government. We are there to facilitate, but we also need the input of the people to come and tell us how they want us to do this together. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Fies.
Thank you. Bless you.
There you have it. We've been talking to Minister of Tourism and Arts Permanent Secretary Dr. Liam Tade. This is why we come to the end of this week's edition of Your Platform, where we've been looking at the growth of the visual arts in Zambia. I have been your host, Macpherson Mukuka. Be sure to join us next week for yet another exciting Your Platform program. For now, it's goodbye and God bless you.